Does your brain and your mind feel full of busyness? Just constant rumination about things going over and over, causing that busyness, that stress. The definition of rumination is when our minds get stuck on certain thoughts, usually negative ones, and we can't stop thinking about them. It's like a never-ending loop in our heads. We're going to discuss that today at the free podcast, and we're also going to tie it in with a verse from 1 Thessalonians that tells us to make it our ambition to lead a quiet life. And we're going to see how those two tie together to help us have a calmer mind. We're in the transformation series, and right now we're talking about transforming our mind, our thoughts, our brain from being so busy and stop ruminating so much. So we're going to have some media, some scripture, some bonus content from my published devotionals. And then at the end, there's always the prize, which I'll tell you about in a second. But first, I'm Nurse Ann. I'm a certified emergency and mental health registered nurse on the front lines for many years and still going. And this channel and my website, you can see in the description, nurseann.com, and with an E. This channel is here for your inspirational wellness of mind, body, and spirit, because they do work together in synergy. And I'd like to see people be able to break out of just feeling stuck in their minds, stuck in their lives, no matter what feel like your limitations, if feel like you're in a box, whatever diagnosis, there's still ways for you to break out and shine and live a life that will make you at peace and make an impact. So we're going to get into that today. And the first article is from Priori is the site, Live Your Life, tips on how to stop ruminating. And they remind us that in today's busy world, our minds can get stuck in that loop of overthinking and replaying negative thoughts. It's called rumination. It can make us feel stressed and anxious. Does this happen to you once a week, every day? Leave that in the comments, and please follow and share. However, the good news is there are techniques you can use to help stop ruminating and regain control of your thoughts. And then, as I said at the beginning, rumination is when our minds get stuck on certain thoughts, usually negative ones, and we can't stop thinking about them. It's like a never-ending loop in our heads. When we ruminate, we keep replaying past events or worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Do you do that? I do. This can make us feel really overwhelmed and anxious. It can also have a negative impact on our self-esteem. Rumination isn't helpful because it keeps us stuck in that cycle of negative thinking and repetitive thoughts. It can affect our mental health by increasing stress, making us feel sad or angry, and impacting our ability to concentrate or make decisions. Understanding what rumination is can help us take those steps to break free from it, break out of your boxes, and improve your overall well-being. So we're going to get some tips from then we're going to go to some interesting tips from a podcast by Francis Chan on leading a quiet life that was really inspirational. One more media, some verses, and then the bonus and the prize, which I'll tell you about after the devotionals. So examples of rumination can happen in a lot of situations, something that a lot of people experience. Dwelling on your past mistakes at work, at school, and your family, not being able to let it go, worrying about the future. Maybe you have something important coming up. Instead of focusing on preparing for it, you might find yourself constantly worrying about it, how it could go wrong, and imagining worst case scenarios. 3, overanalyzing interactions, having a conversation with someone, then afterwards you can't stop thinking about it, replaying every word, gesture, and wondering if you said something wrong or accidentally offended the person or made yourself look bad. And overthinking relationship issues. In relationships, rumination can happen when we repeatedly think about past arguments or conflicts. We keep going over the same arguments in our minds, even when they're resolved. And it can affect our ability to move forward. It can take different forms, but they share the common feature of getting stuck in repetitive and negative thinking patterns. Some ways to stop ruminating, putting an end to the cycle, some helpful strategies. Recognize when you're ruminating. Start by becoming aware of your rumination patterns and triggers. What are some of your triggers? Notice when you're getting caught up in repetitive negative thoughts and acknowledge if that's not helpful for your well being. Challenge your negative thoughts. When they arise, it's important that you try to question their validity. Ask yourself, is there evidence to support those thoughts, or if there might be alternative explanations? If there isn't any evidence for your negative thoughts, you might be worrying and ruminating over nothing. It can help you to reframe negative thoughts into more realistic and positive ones, and then engage in mindfulness and grounding techniques. I do like the concept of mindfulness, and we talk about that in a lot of the podcasts, where we're focused on the moment. We're not focused in worrying about the past or the future, but noticing what's around us, noticing our breath, and trying not to get so caught up in what might happen. Practicing being present in the moment. Engage in activities that help you focus on the here and now, such as deep breathing, meditation, mindfulness, paying attention to your senses, noticing the sounds around you, or feeling the texture of objects. And you could also try positive affirmations for you, distracting yourself from negative thoughts and grounding yourself in the present moment. And there's also breathing exercises, and of course prayer, and asking God to help you focus on what's true and how he can help you. And then shift to problem solving. Instead of dwelling on the problem, you could try to shift your focus to finding solutions, breaking down the issue into smaller, manageable steps, and take action towards resolving it. And of course, setting boundaries. How are you with setting boundaries in your life and relationships? You might find it useful to allocate specific times during the day for reflection or worry. So they're talking about setting boundaries for that worry time, rather than letting it consume your entire day. Set aside dedicated rumination time and limit it to a defined period. It can help you prevent being overwhelmed. You can also seek support, counseling, friends, family members, your faith community. And that reminds me, I just want to remind you, this channel is here for tips and just our discussion of different ways that can help. It's not to replace your current therapeutic modality and specific things for your life that you need to seek out. This is tips for you and help. And remember, breaking free from rumination takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. And by implementing these strategies consistently, you can gradually reduce rumination and create a more positive and peaceful mindset. And the verse was in 1 Thessalonians. It reminds us to make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, minding our own business and working with our hands, learning how to live that quiet life. And that was really inspirational on a recent podcast by Francis Chan. The title was The Power of a Quiet Life. And if you want to check that out, I did see that on YouTube by Francis Chan. The Power of a Quiet Life is very helpful for just thinking about having a calmer, quieter life, but at the same time making an impact greatly in the world around us for ourselves, our loved ones, and having it spill into the larger, ripple out into the world. And he reminded us that it's not so much that we're going for likes, followers, being promoted, being on a stage, which can sometimes be a trap, that we feel like we have to jump through certain hoops if we are on a stage or looking for those likes or followers, instead of speaking what we really feel, leading our quiet life. And he told a story where doing what's important, making an impact, we don't have to look for that recognition or promotion. If God wants it to go viral, he can easily make that happen. And he told the story, Francis Chan told the story of one of his mentors from India was telling a story that he used to go out and help the poor and do good deeds with his friend named Teresa. And they weren't doing it to be recognized. They were just doing it to make a difference and make an impact. But I guess God decided he wanted her to be known, and that was Mother Teresa, how she wasn't looking for the spotlight, but I guess it did help for the world to see just the different ways we can go about that. And it also helps to living for the purpose to please God and helping others. And as I said, we'll be promoted when it's time. So living that quiet life. And it's okay to talk, even have podcasts or social media accounts, talking with others. It's not that you're going to just quiet and not say anything. We do have those conversations. We put the truth out into the world. I guess it's more just not chasing after that following in that stage, but being content and striving to live that quiet life and just do our work as we go about. And also, I heard another good podcast today, and a quote from Seneca reminded us that helping us to have more peace instead of worrying about others, what they say about us, trying to get their approval, is building our value within, and that can also radiate outwards. And part of building the value within is living that life of integrity, sticking close to our values, and seeking out what those are, doing that introspection. And caring for others leads to true peace and a meaningful life. I believe that was from Marcus Aurelius and Seneca from a Stoic podcast, which they also tied into the scripture that we're doing. So having that quiet life, having an increased focus and drive for purposeful reasons, not so much, as I said, worrying about external validation, but cultivating our faith and self-compassion. Cultivating your faith and self-compassion will help. Decreasing that negative self-talk, that negative ruminations about ourselves and others. Decreasing our negative emotions that we ruminate also is important. And also valuing the long-term decisions and adding that value to our life. So we're going to get back to some comments they gave on this blog about making it your ambition to lead a quiet life from their podcast. And it's Scott's podcast. But what did he say about that? He reminded us that Paul reminded us that we can be content in whatever situation we're in. Everybody get a drink of water. It's so healthy for your life. It's healthy for your cells. Do you want healthy cells? Like, follow, share, leave in the comments what you're doing to work on your health and what you're doing to decrease the busyness in your mind and to stop ruminating so much and worrying. And then we were reminded we can aspire to lead quiet lives. It doesn't come automatically or naturally. We can go after and aspire that. Because everything around us, the world, media, tempts us to crave fame, attention, spotlights, recognition. And can you imagine anything less attractive in society's eyes than a quiet life? And what God wants from us is the opposite of what the world promotes. It pleases God when we live simple, humble lives of obedience, often filled with small, ordinary routines. And sometimes the days are far from glamorous. This could sound discouraging to some, but it could be encouraging because it frees us from striving to become big, noticed, and heard. And 1 Corinthians 10, whatever we do, eat, drink, whatever we do, do it all to the glory of God. Whatever we do, no matter how small or insignificant, can be done for his glory and pleasure. And let's see if there's any more in this particular article before we move on. I think that's it. And then we're going to jump on to some verses about decreasing the clutter in your mind. Let me go back to that. That one went away. But make sure you follow, like, and then at the end, we're always going to have the prize, which is a quick, action-packed chapter from my published fictional drama where you get to ride along with the frontline workers rescuing those in crisis. Crisis of mental, physical, and spiritual. It's full of action adventure along with advocacy and awareness, as my website is, to help you with inspirational wellness and also learning how to be creative in your own life and advocating for yourself and others. So verses about peace of mind. I just went away, so I had to pull it back up. Let me see if I can find that one again. Maybe this is it right here. So this is from Bible Inside Out, verses about peace of mind. And then we're going to go to some bonus content from my published devotionals before the prize quickly. Isaiah 26:3 says, he will keep us in perfect peace when our minds are steadfast on him, staying on God because we trust in him. He can keep your mind in peace. Wouldn't that be amazing to have perfect peace. That's his promise. And then we have Psalm 56:3. I like this too. When I am afraid, we all get afraid. What scares you? When I'm afraid, I'll put my trust in you. In Psalm 56:3, it's about trusting God when we're scared because it can bring peace during hard times, feeling strength and safety, even in the storm. In John 14:27, he said, peace I leave with you. I give you, I don't give you as the world gives. Don't let your hearts and your minds be troubled, and don't be afraid. It's not like what the world gives. It's unique and better with this peace. We don't have to be afraid and let our hearts and our minds worry and ruminate. Philippians 4:6-7 is always a great one. You probably know this. Leave in the comments a verse that you like about having your mind at peace. Don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, with prayer and petition and being thankful, present your requests to God. And the promise, as I told you before, this has happened to me in my own life, even in really very difficult times and decisions. But the promise is that the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, that's the part that's hard to understand. We don't always understand how we have that peace in the midst of our storms. But it's the peace of God which does go past, transcend our understanding, and can guard our hearts and our minds in God. And wouldn't you like to have a more peaceful mind and heart? Psalm 4:8, in peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me to dwell in safety. It talks about peace at night, trusting God, and sleeping without worries. Are you able to sleep without worries? How is your sleep? I hope that you don't stay up ruminating and worrying at night or during the day, because it is possible to have peace that passes understanding, not always having that busy mind worrying and ruminating. So we're going to get into the bonus content now, which is from my published devotionals. Link at the website. You can see that in the description. These are here for your encouragement, for soul searching. There's also soul medicine and biblical prescriptions for you. So check those out. Get another drink of water. I'll wait for you. Water, water, water. So the first one is from my Inspiration Battles Devotional, because the battle to stay inspired can seem overwhelming at times. Would you agree? There's also biblical medicine for real life and lots of soul searching and introspection in here, because that really helps us get in touch with decreasing our busy minds, our busy life, and leading that quiet life. So today I chose one called Obsessive. It's about ruminations. And just a quick word from, this is an A to Z devotional, and we're going to do a quick line from I, Impact. And this year, this month, this day, have you resolved to make an impact? Maybe you think that because you're not on a stage with bright lights or have lots of followers, your effort will go unnoticed. I'm not going to read you all the middle, but near the end it says, nothing that you do, that we learn, nothing you do is small or insignificant. Yet the spotlight is on us in places we don't even expect. People are always watching to see how we react. How do you react to insults and offenses in the daily pressures of life? So I'm going to let you read that one at the Inspiration Battles Devotional. I think I also, on my website, you can see it in, I may have read that one to you. But there's also, the one I picked is called Obsessive. And then there's one more quick line from another one. But obsessive, that reminds us to trying to hang on to control of people and things can become like an elusive spin on the hamster wheel of life. Do you ever feel like you're on a hamster wheel in your mind, in your life? Do you? We may exert seemingly endless time ruminating about ways to plan and organize our way into so-called security. Yet while we're desperately grasping the rope that we believe will assure our safety, we might not notice the time that is slipping away from our pursuits of greater worth for now and eternity. So I'm going to let you also read the rest of that at my Inspiration Battles devotional. It's called Obsessive. And a quick line from this one is opulence. And it just touches on what we were talking about, how it's nice to not worry so much about being on the spotlight, having more and more possessions, because that can also lead to a cluttered mind when we're worried about just accumulating more and more and then having to keep up with all that. It's so freeing in our mind, decreasing the clutter in our mind and the busyness to have a simpler lifestyle. So opulence. What was the latest upgrade for your phone, car, wardrobe, home remodel, or perhaps a combination of those choices? What was it? And we're not knocking that. We do have certain things we have to keep up with, but I guess it's just taking the big picture in mind of not chasing after more and more and accumulating more and more all the time. That shouldn't be our focus, because it does cause us to feel trapped sometimes. And sometimes these purchases can be necessary to keep our edge in business or for a resale value. And after a season of hard work, can be a well-deserved reward to splurge on our desired wish list. As we participate in a frenzy of consumption, when's the last time you participated in a frenzy of consumption? For me, it might be Amazon. What about you? Do we consider the needs of the less fortunate in our communities and churches, the destitute and impoverished nations, and even the struggling members within our families? Driving or walking by someone attempting to sleep on a cold bench at a bus stop or holding a cardboard sign on a street corner can become an unnoticed routine as we hurry to arrive at our next destination. In the pages of Scripture, Jesus and certain prophets that spoke on behalf of the Lord felt compelled to give instructions and warnings against the lure of a lifestyle of just me, me, me. And while it might be true that sometimes individuals or groups may be attempting to con the kind-hearted for nefarious gain, we can become indifferent to those that may actually be in dire need. Some people might be suffering from the haunts of a life of trauma perpetrated against them at a young age. We talk a lot in some other videos too about trauma healing. That's so important for everyone. Others may feel stuck in the limitations of a disease or diagnosis. In this ridicule and stigma imposed from society, and the lack of support for basic needs can cause others to feel like they can never make any progress. I hope that those of you who are considered the fortunate ones, especially if we look at the standards of living on a worldwide scale, will consider our ways and seek to show compassion and action to help others in need. And that's again from my Inspiration Battles devotional. And from my Mental Healing Poetry devotional, do you want mental healing? Of course we do. And today I chose Healing Storm, just a few lines from that. And I asked, do you ruminate mistakes from your past? Do you ruminate mistakes from your past? Negative mindsets trying to last? Childhood pain, emotional trauma? Does it play in your life like a bestseller drama? Where's the relief, a soothing balm, a refuge in the storm, a harbor of calm, a reset, true healing, supernatural peace? I'm going to let you read the rest here, but it's also at my website on the spoken word poetry tab. I believe I read this one on there. You can see that live. And that's from Mental Healing Poetry Devotional. This is really about a lot of mental health and just everyday mind battles that we go through. And then it's got a poem and a devotional for you. And then Word Puzzles Devotional, I did unique and interesting words, linked it to our mind struggles in our everyday life, along with relevant biblical prescriptions. So get your dose. As I said, this one, there's also medicine for your soul. Do you need soul medicine in your life? This one I chose is it's also an A to Z devotional from the letter M. And the word is myopia. I want you to guess what that is and leave it in the comments. Is it A, a Brazilian fruit, B, an addictive substance, or C, nearsightedness? Yes, it's C, nearsightedness. And we can apply nearsightedness or short-sightedness to anxiety and worry and only seeing what's right in front of us during times of stress and panic. Nearsightedness to life, like that anxious ruminations and only seeing what's in our mind and worrying about that. When you start to feel anxious, look beyond to God for creative solutions and insight. Psalm 129 indicates that if we look to the hills, which is past our problematic situation, and ask for guidance and wisdom, that insight will be provided. Instead of nearsightedness and ruminations, choose to allow God to help you work out the battle you're facing. Word puzzles devotional. A little bit from my energized health, body, mind, and spirit, because what? Body, mind, and spirit work together in synergy for our peace of mind and our total health in our life. So just a quick excerpt from the intro. We can jump through hoops for career, money, success, fame, popularity, and getting more followers and likes. Our existence can be consumed with so much time on social media, surfing the web, working overtime, taking our kids to 12 different activities, binge watching TV, intentionally organizing our belongings, and so on and so on and so on. As time goes by, we might look around and see that some of the most important things in our lives, even our mind, gets so busy and our things have been neglected. So in this devotional, we take a moment to slow down and think about those type of things. Toward a life of purpose, or stumbling into a place of anxiety and running on that hamster wheel, going around and around and around. Let's stop that today. So my Energized Health, link at the website. And my latest is Ignite Life Poetry Devotional. As you go, dare to inspire and bless everyone in your path. Now we're going to get on to the promised prize, and then you're going to get out of here. So we're in my 6-part drama series that I created in my My free time. And it's written to be a television drama series with your help, and it highlights different struggles that people go through in emergency and mental health in your own life, your own families, and it shows how the frontline workers help along with the community, the church, the families, and so on and so on. We've already finished book 1, which was Sheep Among Wolves, and we talked about thought disorders, homelessness, crime and danger, and then we finished book 2, which is Dr. John Doe. We talk about Alzheimer's, dementia, memory disorders, more crime and danger. You're also meeting the frontline workers and seeing their thought battles, their ruminations, and their relationships that are starting. And we just finished A Tent Under the Bridge. We got into more homelessness, thought disorders, more crime and danger, lots and lots of action. As I said, with your help, it's going to be a television drama series. Now we're in Defenders of the Week. We talk about anxiety and bullying and how people help each other with that. Then we'll go on to Ready, Willing, and Able. We're going to talk about the spectrum, autism, and just different ways people help each other and how people can actually shine their own talents regardless of any disability or limitation. And then the season finale is Out of Control, Addiction, Relapse, Entitled People, the culmination of an important relationship, and so much more. You're going to want to follow this drama before it hits TV and or movie. So let's get on to today's, but before we do, I'm going to show you the complete season is in one book. It's the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition by Nurse Ann. Right along on this book club, I hope that you do. And you can see all the podcasts in order. In order at my website, there's a Patreon, a YouTube channel, a podcast channel. You can go back, watch them all in order. Just get the book club. And to make it even easier, it's on an audiobook, and you're going to feel like you're right there in the action because it was narrated by Drama Simpson. He brought it to life with siren noises, action noises, different character voices. It's very action-packed. You're really going to feel like you're on a television drama series. So check that out, the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition by Nurse Ann, Audible and iTunes. And yes, please leave a review. With your help, you know it can be that drama series. So today we're on chapter 13, Offenses. We just finished chapter 12, Ice Cream Drama. So chapter 13, Offenses. Are you ready? And then we're going to get out of here. They said, "What?" Leon asked indignantly. Say that 3 times. Indignantly, as Jonathan told them what the church elders had said to him after the ministry meeting. "If you ask me, they sound like some of the neighbors the reporter interviewed about the homeless community moving in near them." "That's true," replied Jonathan. Everyone just wants to keep their comfortable little country club lives in place. Maybe Robert and Brian had something to do with the vandalism at the home site. They could have paid someone off. I think I'm going to investigate. I think I'm going to investigate those two tomorrow. They're not going to get away with how they treated you, Leon charged. It's crazy, Leon, but as angry as I'm feeling, I keep getting this nudge in my spirit about what we just talked about tonight at the meeting, confessed the ministry leader. Huh? What do you mean? Asked Leon. Remember, we were talking about wanting to learn more about being quick to listen, slow to speak. Jonathan started. Oh, yeah, I remember now. And also slow to become angry, Leon declared. Sure seems like a tall order in this situation. I hear you, and I really appreciate you coming by, Leon. I think I'm going to spend the night in prayer and studying some more from that chapter. Maybe we could meet tomorrow for lunch if you get a break, and I'll let you know how God has dealt with me tonight, Jonathan suggested. Oh, absolutely. After I investigate those clowns, I'll meet you for lunch. What do you think about me bringing Lita along? I think that would be great. We should all put our heads together. I could use some more prayers backing me up. I don't know what to do about this. I like leading everyone in the ministry team and all the good work we're doing in the community. But Brian and Robert seem to run everything around there, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. No matter what happens, you can't leave us, Leon urged. Before I let that happen, we would all go with you and start our own ministry team somewhere. Jonathan, you really have a heart of gold, and God is using you mightily in the church and also the city. I appreciate it, Leon. I'll have to pray about this. I know I'm not the first to face opposition and persecution. And the next chapter is chapter 14, Meltdown. What is going to happen? You'll have to come to the next Transformation Series podcast to find out. In the meantime, like, follow, share, leave your comments, and I'll see you at the website, nurseann.com. Thank you. See you later.